A valuable asset disappearing from Arizona schools. If you're a parent of a middle or high school student, you know the role the school resource officer plays in protecting them. But some schools won't have that layer of security when classes begin. ABC 15's Mary Ellen Resendez is live in the newsroom. And Mary Ellen, why won't there be officers on the job?
You know, Steve, most resource officers are paid through what's called state grants. So when the state cut their budget, they cut some of that funding to the state grant. Now that meant multiple schools from the West Valley all the way to the East Valley will now have to do without resource officers.
You know, there are less resources, and everyone is feeling the less resources in general.
When students return to Centennial Middle School in Ahwatukee, many might notice something missing. Their friend in blue, the resource officer that's typically stationed at their school to help them deal with tough teenage issues they may be experiencing.
Typically what we see them doing is a lot of presentations about bullying, cyberbullying, sexual harassment, some of the topics that are important to our youth today.
Kyrene isn't the only school district losing its resource officer. Goodyear and Buckeye in the West Valley are also feeling the pinch from lost grants, which for some is painful.
Over the years, you know, state funding has been reduced, and so the grant has become more competitive.
3 years ago, Kyrene School District had enough grant funding for 6 resource officers, one at each of their middle schools. But that has now dwindled down to half, 3 officers, now leaving 3 of its middle schools without resource officers and one less source for students to get help.
A benefit of the program is that children and families are able to interact with a sworn police officer in a less threatening way than you typically would in the community.
Now, depending on the type of grant the school district has, some of the school districts, for instance, in the West Valley, have been able to actually shift their resource officers to more higher priority schools. But with the Kyrene School District, their grant doesn't allow them to do that. Live in the newsroom, Mary Ellen Resendez, ABC 15.